How do we know that this is the home of Peter's mother-in-law? I heard some of you say that.
Yeah.
And all of you are thinking that, and if you're not paying attention. Right? Well, it's because of this complex of structure. It's pictured over here, and here was the deal. After the resurrection of Jesus, Christians who lived, people who came to faith in Jesus, who lived in this part of the world, where would they like to worship the resurrected Jesus? Well, they'd like to worship in the home where Jesus stayed as a guest. The home, and remember, all churches in the first century were house churches. They're homes that Christians made available to their friends who worship Jesus. Remember, there's no church building until the Edict of Milan, and then the Council of Nicaea. Council of Nicaea is 225. Edict of Milan is in the 180s. That gave permission for Christians to build church buildings. So before the 3rd century, presumably there were no church buildings, so people worshiped Jesus in homes. And a large home, a gracious host and hostess, that's where they would meet. So if I were living in Capernaum and I were a follower of Jesus, I'd want to worship the resurrected Lord at the home where he stayed, wouldn't you? So that would be the inner circle that we have here. And in succeeding generations, another structure was built around the earlier one, but a larger scale. And another around that on a larger scale. So what we have here is a history of the building of houses on top of houses on top of houses, all larger than the former one, because as the church grew, the church building needed to expand, just like at home, if you have a growing church. So the only explanation for this series of concentric, oh, by the way, octagonal is very interesting. The only explanation is the people believed that this was the home of Peter's mother-in-law, and we assume that's correct. We can't be absolutely sure, but it just makes sense. So when the Catholic order here wanted to build their 20th century church building, it's been here a few years, they wanted to build it on top, and they could have built it on the ground surrounding all of this, but they thought, no, let's build it above, and then we're preserving this so people can see from here, and then we go up and we can see it from looking down. Okay? So let's go inside. They want us